Du hörst Herzenssache, Projektgeflüster mit Madame Fugana, der Podcast, der dich nach Ghana mitnimmt. Christine und Bettina erzählen bewegende Geschichten, plaudern aus dem Nähkästchen und teilen persönliche Erfahrungen. Komm mit auf diese besondere Reise. Los geht's!
Hello and welcome to a special podcast with Happy, our dear Happy from the Children's Shelter in Ho, our director. Unfortunately, the reason for this podcast is not a happy one. We need to also sometimes really let you guys know what is going on the ground. We have a lot of success stories, and what we are going to tell you today is also going to be a success story because Happy and her team, they are going to turn it into one. But sometimes we also need to let you know what is really heartbreaking and really what is going on. So first of all, Happy welcome again to Madame Fugana podcast. It's the third time you are here, and people really enjoy you being part of our podcast series.
Thank you.
So guys, the reason why I'm here is that we had an emergency in the middle of the night. This is not a news for us. This is happening quite often, but I found it very heartbreaking. What has happened this time? It's always heartbreaking, but we just want to share the story. We owe it to that child. I want to narrate that child's story. So, as we always do, we are not going to show the face of the child. We are not going to narrate the real name of the child. But it's a real child, a little boy, 2 years old, who is with us in the shelter right now. And we need to tell his story in order to make a change in the destinies of other children that are probably going to have the same fate. And also just to let you know where your donations are going, because he is one of the beneficiaries from our children's shelter. Happy. Thank you very much for coming here, because I know although you're professionally trained social welfare officer, you are the director of the shelter, you're a mom yourself, 3 children. Nevertheless, heartbreaking stories like that, they are always very difficult for you. But you agreed for us to narrate the story in order to make a change. And I think that is why we are here.
Yes.
Maybe you can let us know what happened in that night last week.
So that night, that was just last week. We around 7 o'clock, we got a call from the department. That's one of our stakeholders. That there is an emergency with a child. That they suspected the age to be 2 years. The name was not given. Found on the streets of our station, which is the whole station. And when we heard the story, and that it was really heartbreaking, first of all, to receive such a call during that time. And then secondly was the age. So we were waiting to receive the boy in. The child went through the the police the process, and then it was clear that they must hand over the child to the Department of Social Welfare for proper shelter as soon as possible.
Okay, so let me just quickly come in. You are familiar with the process.
Okay.
Our listeners, our auditor, our friends and donors, they are not. So there was a child left behind at the whole station. That is where the cars go and come. Let me say the public transport, the center for public transport. So there was a small child. They were estimating around 2 years, and it was found by people around, and they called the police.
Yes.
So in Ghana, if that is happening, then they involve social welfare. That is the ministry, and that are the officers. They are entitled to work on cases like that.
Exactly.
So now continue. So social welfare came to the scene.
And then they had to call the Madame Fugana to quickly come in. So quickly we put our things together, and then we finally received the child in the shelter.
Okay, hold on. You're again too fast, because that is your daily bread, unfortunately. So the child was in the hands of social welfare. So we want to make that clear. That is the authority in Ghana, that officers are able legally to handle any minor citizen that is below 18 to take care of. So literally they are the guardians of that very child. Any child who is not fully matured, so above 18, is under the care and the supervision of social welfare.
Yes.
And because we are a registered home,
Yeah.
one of the few registered homes in whole Ghana,
Yes.
we are a partner of social welfare.
Welfare.
So it was late. There was apparently no parent, no guardian, no one that belonged to that child.
Yeah.
So they called on you.
Yes.
So let me come in. When you get a call like this, what is the routine preparation in our shelter? What chain is then coming into effect?
So as soon as we receive such calls, we quickly have to first of all find a place where the child will sleep, what the child will eat, and the clothing that the child is going to wear. So that is where we have to quickly search our used clothing or used clothing that has been donated to see if we can get any used clothing that can fit such age.
All right. So it's like the first that comes into the mind is a preparation for receiving the child. So that means we have to buy a mattress. By that time, guys, nobody's going to buy. We have tons in stock because we are prepared for emergencies. But that child is going to cost us money. And we are explaining it to you in such detail for you also to see. We have this emergency funding donation marathon on our website. We are putting a link. When you donate into that bowl, that is where the money goes. So the child will receive a mattress, a blanket,
Yes.
a pillow,
A dress.
cover cloth,
Yeah.
bed sheets,
Yes.
then dresses, soap, sponge, anything for personal hygiene. If it's a baby that age, maybe Pampers,
Yeah.
milk, food will be provided.
Yeah.
So cutlery, plate, cup, maybe a toy
Yeah.
to ease the stresses. So I want to let you know all this is going to be provided by us,
Yeah.
and it's not our personal money. We are using your donations that you have given to us for this type of cases.
Yes.
So they came and they arrived. Your preparations were ready. Take us along. What did you see?
So we were at the gate hoping to see how the child looked like because per the description, the child was totally neglected. So when we realized that, first of all, the child was finding it difficult to walk. That was the first observation. Then secondly, when we checked the hands, we realized that both hands were burnt. Very, very, very burnt. I don't know whether that caregiver the child was under didn't do anything initially, or they tried it and couldn't work out. You could clearly tell that there was some form of care for the boy, but it wasn't enough at all. And then it was that bad. When you see it, that 2 years age plus 2 hands bent, and then you could the wound wasn't properly healed, and both legs, you could clearly tell the bends affected both legs as well.
So in order to summarize this, you received a child which you will also say approximately 2 years old plus minus,
Yeah.
or rather minus, because I've seen the child now maybe like 1.5, 1.75, 2. So let's say between 1.5 and 2 years. And in order to, I'm somebody, I like to describe things very. So for people, it's a podcast. They hear us, they don't see, and of course, what these pictures you cannot even post because it's heartbreaking. So the hands were like claws.
Yeah.
The child has the wounds have healed. So the skin of the hands are intact, but the hand is like a claw. The child couldn't or can even not stretch the fingers, because when you have I'm a pediatrics nurse, so if you have a wound that is burnt and it's not healed well, the skin shrinks. And that means the finger cannot go straight again. So the hand is like a claw, it's like cramping.
Yeah.
And on top of it, when you examine the child, which as a social welfare officer, of course, you do to get an idea about the general state, you found out it's totally malnourished because it has that belly that shows us that it didn't get enough protein, meaning the water is going to the tissue and it gets that, we call it hunger belly. And then whilst examining it, you also found out that there are more burn marks
Yes.
on the body. So looking at the whole child, it's like you can say when you look at it and the whole skin, like half of the child is burnt. The wounds are healed, so there's skin, but you can see it's not treated well.
Dead wall.
And I, as a nurse, I looked at it and I can tell you it is a third to fourth degree. When you have also the way it didn't heal nicely, if you have a small burn, your new skin comes and then it's like it's okay. Maybe you see a small scar, but it's fine. But that one, you can see that the tissue is not smooth at all. So when you see this and you got the report from social welfare, what is our next step as professionals? What is then happening? What is continuing in the shelter so that people understand your work better? Explain what are you doing?
Yeah. So as soon as we received this boy, we quickly, first of all, showed the love. We tried to hug him. At a certain point, he wasn't so sure as to where he is. But after 10 minutes, he actually came and then hugged me. And then I have to carry her straight to carry him straight to the caregivers. And then also try to let him know that it is safe. At that point, during that process, the child begins to trust us, getting to know that no, this one, I'm okay, a little bit safe. So we have to make sure that we feed the child. You could clearly tell day one, he was really starving.
So you told me in that transition period, always you guys give the child a space. When you say hugging, people may think like we are imposing ourselves on the child. When you say hugging, you mean like you are getting closer, you go to your knees and let the child know that you are not a threat.
Exactly.
That nobody is there with a stick or to hit or to shout.
Exactly.
And just get closer and, try this human bonding. I mean, as a mom, you just feel you want to just lift it and hug it,
Yes.
And then in your description, like the child opens up
Yeah.
and comes closer to you.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I can testify that I have the same experience. So when I came yesterday, as usually some of our children, they will come and run to me and hug me, and they are so short, they can only hug my leg unless I go down. And that little boy was standing with them, and I was prepared that he would start crying, because usually that age they're also a bit afraid of my color, because if they haven't seen a white person, it's quite a difference. But he looked at me and he stepped towards me and stretched out his hands. And I took it and then I realized how severely burned that hand is.
Yeah.
So it was so heartbreaking that you just even don't want to think of what has happened, what has the child gone through,
Yeah.
So explain to us or let us be part of case like this. What then is also happening? I know you are sending them to the hospital, you do psychological assessment. Please let us be part of the journey. So what is the routine you are exhibiting for such a child, an emergency case?
Yeah. So the first step is we have to let the boy see a medical doctor, professional one, so that we can know whether he carried any skin disease or anything that is not wanted in the shelter for quick treatment. So the next morning, we quickly have to rush him to the hospital. Already he came here very warm, and then we quickly have to give him maybe first aid. And we're hoping that the next morning to come for us. And then we did exactly so. We took him to the hospital, and believe me, malaria was positive, plus other infections, according to the doctor. So they had to give us some medications, and we were also allowed to run an x-ray to see whether he got a broken bone in one of the arms. So this is where we've gotten to so far, and very soon we'll update the public, or we will update your thing or the sponsors to know what is actually happening to the boy's body.
Yeah.
Because you will need continuous medical treatment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And psychological treatment. And so I have seen him today. So he's with us now less than a week. And I've seen him walking happily around. He's even interacting with my son. So you can see that You can never know how it looks inside, but he's too young to talk, to express how he feels or what's happened. But you can see that he's opening up, and I was joining him when he was eating, which was also very hard to see with these hands that are no more working, grabbing he was actually using the hand to eat, which you could really see the hunger, like, and like, of course, I'm not interpreting something inside what I've observed, but you could see that he was eagerly seeing that whole plate in front of him, and none of the other children was coming for it. I think he realized, hey, that is for me. That is all for me. So he was eating, and I was trying to do a bit of documentation, as usually not showing the face or anything like that. So looking at a case like this, he's now with us, he's safe. What are the stakeholders that are working on such a case? What is their role now? So for us, the role, maybe just stay with us for now. So what are we continuously doing
As a shelter.
as a shelter?
Yes. So once the proper care and the protection is going to be taken up by Madam Fu will do that. Then we also expect our stakeholders to quickly do the necessary investigation, find out where the boy is coming from, what's happened. That is, if they get any trace. And then we hope to get feedback. And once that is done, they are able to get the truth, get the real facts as to what led to this child being dumped at the station. That is where we can also update our individuals, or especially our directors, on what to do next.
Okay, so literally we are following up on the legal side.
Yeah.
Then the other stakeholders is also the judiciary.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a care order for that very child. The legal aspect is always very important for me, because there's a lot of going on Instagram where you see, oh, we are rescuing, and we want to stress out that this is not allowed. So of course you feel for someone, you feel for a child, but a child has rights by itself. It's not supposed to be taken from somewhere. Of course, if you see a child in dire need or in danger, of course you come, you protect it, but immediately then you involve the police, you involve social welfare, and that is what we are doing.
Yes.
So I just want to draw, the public's attention that when you see videos like that where they rescue children, you have to be very careful and following up. I'm not saying everybody's doing the wrong thing, no, but I can stress out that is the legal process, and I think it's the same in any country.
Yes.
The child doesn't have parents. That means it needs a legal guardian. The judges here, the judiciary, are going to implement social welfare as the guardian, and then the guardian can decide to give the child in our care. So we are under the close supervision of social welfare. And then, of course, there's other stakeholders, any authority in Ghana that is legally allowed to be part of that process. And I think it's the judiciary and then the social welfare. I think this is what we are dealing with.
Yes.
And then from your experience, because we have other children with such, let me say, stories with us. Of course, now I'm asking you a question, you can only predict, but looking at the case, do you think we will find some relatives, because whole station, that is like the center of the town, do you think the police will be able maybe to trace a family? Because I'm always also advocating, that they've been put into the legal system. If there's such an abuse, there has to be a consequence, which is not for me to say, but for Ghana legal system and for the state, to protect their small citizens. Do you think there's a chance, or what is your expectation? What's your expectation for now?
Yeah, so for us as a shelter, once we are covered, we've been covered by the Ghana police, because we have the extracts covering the little information about the boy. The department will now do the follow-ups. We hope, that's the word I can use right now.
Yeah.
We will hope that the social welfare do their work very well and then investigate for us to get the results. But we can't promise that soon enough the parents will be traced. We can't.
So
the other option would be either give the child out for adoption.
Yeah.
But then the child has to be, first of all, stay here for some time. And according to the law, a child can stay in the shelter for maximum 3 years. That's the maximum. So after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, Then 3 years, we have to find plan B. That is where the foster parent comes in.
Yeah.
It could be you,
Like guardians.
like guidance.
Responsible citizens in Ghana that can take care of a child without a legal adoption. Become guardians.
Exactly.
But we must also say that realistically, although the law is there and social welfare, they're doing their best to investigate. But when there is no information, they cannot produce any information. So we have some children that are with us for many, many, many years, and not because we want to keep them
No.
or we are fan of them. It's simply because they don't have anybody. So we have become their home. Although for any child, it would be better to be in a family set
Than the
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what we can also say, our home is organized as a family
No
setting.
doubt about it. Exactly.
So that is, guys, that is how it is when an emergency is coming in. And I would like to really stress out that all the donations we are getting, be it in material form, like some people come, they donate rice and all those items, soap and so on, and then the monetary donations, that they will go for such cases. And then we have the regular donations, the one where we have sponsors that donate a certain amount per month. Maybe I want to use the opportunity to explain the system because we've changed it, but since many years, we were first doing individual donations, like for that very particular child, and then we are trying as much as possible to be transparent, with a donation that is going for that child. And we have changed that, not because we want to be intransparent or because we want to abuse the money or your donations or hide anything. It was an administrational load, unhappy on the team, that we simply have to decide where does the benefit go. And for us, the key is the child. And we really hope anybody who sees us here now, who is following maybe just now on YouTube and is watching us, and anybody who is listening to us, who has us in the ear, for us, the welfare and the well-being of the child, that is our key.
Exactly.
So when you do a monthly donation, we call it seed donation. You are sponsoring for now, for instance, this little boy, the seed.
Yeah.
But if he's been taken away by social welfare tomorrow, which they can do, they have the mandate, then we can put another child there and your donation is still going, it's still helping. I really want to stress this out. It's not getting lost. It's not going anywhere you don't want it to go. It goes for the shelter. And I hope with all we have explained and transparently let you be part of in this podcast, that you understand that we need these donations just to make sure whatever comes our way, which is unpredictable in social welfare work, in social work, it's unpredictable what's happening today.
Yeah.
A child can just get a cold. Happy has to send a child to the hospital. It will cost money. A child can fall. It costs money. A child needs new shoes, clothing, school fees, anything. So it's our heartfelt appeal, Happy, that anybody supporting the home, you are supporting the home 100%. What I also want to maybe use the opportunity is how you are getting information. We have a strong ethical, we made a strong ethical decision. We are not taking pictures of the children just with a blank face. When we do group pictures, or sometimes, we post when they are playing football, you may get a glimpse of a face. But if you are sponsoring a child or you see posts on social media, especially on our website about the children, we are not showing the faces just out of dignity. For instance, my child he's not going on social media. His picture is not going. Same applies to Happy's child. Generally, we are not putting there. You will see them once in a while. If maybe there's a nice scene they are playing, we are okay with it, but we are the parents. These children, their identity needs to be protected. And that is why it's also not, we want to hide anything or not be transparent. We hope you understand, and it's actually also a law that a minor that couldn't give the consent to be taken picture or videos or interviewed, we are not doing that. And we hope and we count on you and your understanding. Happy, looking at the shelter and the current operations, maybe we can close by your current challenges. Let us be part. What is currently one of your challenges here?
Yeah. So we need more donation. We have the old ones, which is the clothing and then the mattresses. But the way the cases are coming, especially of late, it's better we make plans for the future by donating more so we can get more of the mattresses, the slippers, the even for the school fees, we need it. Textbooks, notebooks, they are the basics one that we need. Food. Now things are a little bit challenging that if you don't come to our aid, it's very difficult for us to even get a 3 square meal. We are getting it today, but we don't know what tomorrow holds for us. Yes. So with the more donation, we can make plans for the future.
You have framed it so well. And I think, guys, you hear Happy's voice. Anybody who knows her, please drop a comment. She'll be so happy. There are friends here. I know very well that you are listening and you have met Happy here in the shelter. We thank you so much, Happy. I thank you so much for sharing this very insightful story of a child that has just been brought here and your story and what you are going through as the head of the shelter. And myself, I want to thank anybody who has listened to this podcast. Today, it wasn't easy peasy lemon squeezy, but that is our daily bread.
Yeah.
If everything would be well and working, we wouldn't be needed. So we are here, Madame for the friends, and in this case, the friends of the children that have come to our shelter. Please, I would like to stress out anybody who listens to us, please subscribe to one of our channels. We are on all the channels that provide podcasts. We have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. What you're getting from us, the content, is real. It's not fake.
No.
It's day by day. It's our daily life, our daily projects, and anything that is happening. Please subscribe, share. If you can, donate. For us, no donation is too small. 50 cents is fine. €1 is fine. 10 cents is fine. If you can, €1,000 is also very welcome. Anything that you can. We are so grateful that you listened to us today.
Yeah.
And we will soon be back with a new episode of Herzenssache Projektgeflüster von Madame for Ghana. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Bye.